Do it.
3, 2, 1.
Moff Gideon with a dark sword. He's coming to take the child away from Din Djarin. He's coming over here to take the child from Din Djarin. No, what are you going to do?
I realized
You
that
gonna-
you put the palette cam, I turned it off instead of turning it on.
Boop.
But I'll wait till you're ready for it.
No, now we're ready.
Now we're ready?
Yeah,
Okay.
turn the podcast on. I was just going to do the intro while I do that. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, hello, and welcome to Atomic Mass Transmissions Live. Today we're painting up Moff Gideon for Star Wars Shatterpoint. I'm super excited about this miniature. Super love this miniature. And I think it really captures that character and that just supreme badassness that he just exudes on screen. And he's got a dope cape, and I'm a sucker for a dope cape. It's one of my favorite things to draw. So if we're ready, Ann, we can do it. Oh,
Kick it to the mini cam.
kick it to the mini cam, mini cam. We're gonna start with this skin to the. He's ready, 100%. You left the mic on. Seekers in chat, Mr. Rich in chat, everybody's in chat. Chat. So, let's see. So, looking at the reference, his skin tone is one of my favorites, and it's a much colder tone. So I'm gonna mix up. These are all of our paints for yesterday. I just ruined that. I don't want all that orange in there. I just ruined it. That's all right. New paints. We're starting all over. Dark umber and some advanced. Love the details on the gloves. Yeah, he's got little unique gloves. He's got little ribbing and edging on the gloves. So once again, I like to start with the highlights. We're gonna desaturate this just a little touch. We're gonna use I want a little gray. The reference I have, his highlights are a little more desaturated. It's not as warm as like we did yesterday with Grief Karga. So we're going to use a lot of the same colors. Just like when we paint any skin tone, it's always the same colors. Just apply it up and down differently. You know, a little darker, a little lighter, but they're all effectively the same. Boom, boom. The villain's building cloaks around. Look, I have a deep love for whooshy cloaks. First off, it cuts a mean silhouette. Secondly, it's just super cool and fashionable, and I really think we should all wear cloaks and capes. Tell me I'm wrong, you know. You can't. Okay, while that dries, let's get some coal black. Giancarlo Esposito does such a good job playing a bad guy every time. Just fantastic actor in general, and absolutely. I absolutely adore his face. I think his face is just so full of personality. So it makes for, I love the art that Preston got done for his Shatterpoint card. And I love the miniature that we got sculpted. I believe by Dave kid. And if you're following along at home and you've been reading those credit sheets, which I can't understand why anybody wouldn't be reading credit sheets. I read the credit sheets the whole time growing up with miniatures. Like, I'm just like, I have to read the credit sheets. I want to know who did what. I want to know about the people. But I'm pretty sure it was Dave. What is Dallas's technique for eyes? A lot of them come out bug-eyed, gecko, cross-eyed, or mismatched eyes. We do eyes on the show quite often. We did eyes yesterday. I paint the entire ocular cavity like it's flesh, and then I come back and add. I paint the ocular orb black. The big secret there is don't hold your breath. That is one of my least favorite tips. I hear people say, hold your breath. Don't hold your breath. You have to breathe. Weirdly, that's just a state of living things. You got to breathe. Not breathing sends you into a bit of stress. When your body starts stressing, it's going to be harder to paint. So breathe. Practice. I do a little thing where I go above the eye and don't paint it, but I just kind of get my hand doing the motion to kind of it's like a practice stroke in golf. Kicker, what's up? You were painting something I want. Painting something I want. We're talking about capes. What happened to the cape conversation? Glad to finally catch the stream again. Love these paint streams. I'm super hyped for Adepticon. I'm super hyped for Adepticon. That's next week. Did this miniature have any challenges for sculpting or poses? We had several different poses drawn up for Moff Gideon, and they were varying degrees of action or intent, but there was something, you kind of think about the character, right? You want to really think about the personality of the character, and Moff Gideon is such a patient and purposeful man. Wanting to see that captured in the miniature was kind of the goal. He doesn't have to run in and declare himself cool. He just oozes the cool, right? He is calm, cool, collect. He's in charge and he's in control, and he doesn't need to tell you that, right? If somebody has to tell you, first off, if somebody has to tell you they're the boss, they're not the boss. Moff Gideon doesn't go around saying, I'm the boss. People just go, that's the boss. I don't know if you know this, but that fella, he's the boss. But the billion capes have been so far, God help us when we get Bespin Lando. What up, L? Calm, cool, collected. Assume I know everything is one of the best. Yeah, assume I know everything. That is his character in a nutshell, right? Assume I know everything. You need to assume when you meet me or when you're dealing with me, anything you say has already come to my attention well before this meeting, well before this interaction. You are always on the back foot. You are not in control at all. Moff Gideon's in control. I'm just doing a little bit of highlighting, free highlighting. Now we're going to shade. I missed a couple questions as I was rambling. So hopefully I didn't miss anything too important. I don't think I did. We were talking about capes. Somebody said Lando's capes.
I'm scrolling up for you.
Like, one Simone Elliott loves Lando Calrissian and would not allow us to do much with Lando if a fantastic cape was not involved. The man has capes.
I mean, he also just like has a walk-in closet, which is frankly the dream.
It's true. Some of us don't even have closets. It's me. My house is too tiny. Little shadows. Somebody asked about eyes. We're going to try to get to eyes too today.
Yeah, I don't think you missed too much else. You talked about or did you talk a little bit about the pose for the sculpt and how?
Yeah, we had several poses, yeah. But this one was the calm, cool, in control vibe. You know, the thing about poses is like, you know, not always, but sometimes we get multiple poses drawn up for each character, and you know, you got to pick one, right? And sometimes there's just no bad one, right? It's just like, well, any one of those is the right one. Like, and so you start talking about the character, you start discussing like the different aspects you want to create. You start thinking about like all those other moments of like, you know, who is the character going to be packaged with? Like, should we save this pose for another version? Like, oh, that's a good pose, but that would really be much better on, you know, this version of the character. The Darksaber reveal will still be one of those moments that stays with me from the show. Yeah, when he steps out that TIE fighter. Ooh, so good. Which is the scene from which the Legion miniature is based on, which goes right into Mr. Rich's question. We had already done that for the Legion one, so wanted to capture a little something different. You know, with Shatterpoint, we really like telling like this Shatterpoint like story. Somebody's going to get a blaster. Using, here's a little gray and black for the undersuit. I'm using pure coal black for Greg Webster, sup. Pure coal black for the armor. And the belt. Is the dark saber optional? No. Wait, am I crazy? No, it's not. I didn't think about it. You know how long it's been since I worked on this miniature?
I was gonna say the last time you probably thought about it was a long time ago.
That is a miniature I have not thought about in a long time. So many years ago. I love painting dark sabers too. I'll make a It's a little thin just so it just flows very quickly. Now we'll do the dark saber as well. Bad guys scare you. Come on, Gregor. Sabine, yeah, Sabine has one in Legion. Moff Gideon has one in Legion. Who else has a dark saber? Anne, do you know?
I believe Shadow Collective Mall.
Oh, yep, Shadow Collective Mall.
I don't think anybody else. No.
Sabine Mall. Moff Gideon. Am I crazy? Am I forgetting somebody?
Yeah, does Man? I don't think Mando does.
No.
Yeah.
Bo-Katan? No.
No, because that hadn't.
You can do the conversion.
Yeah. And some people have out there. It's cool to see everybody's creativity on parade. Let's put a little blue in that armor, make it shine from the side.
Okay, so I'm going to think about this. I want light coming from this way. I want shadow on this side. So I'm going to use some Holdra blue and put it in the shadows over here. Just like that. Gonna leave this side unshadowed with blue. Now we're just playing. Now we're just goofing off. Now we want to go a little bit darker on the skin, and I think we want some blue in there, just a touch, but not hold your blue. We don't want hold your blue. Maybe some Payne's gray. Yeah, it's like a little blue, little gray. Mixing something up, just trying something out here. Favorite Shatterpoint character you painted so far? I have so many favorites though. I'm really bad at favorites. I painted 2 Grievous.
Yeah, I was gonna say Grievous was so fun. I just really enjoyed. I mean, it's the cape, right? Like there's so many opportunities to try out techniques because of all the cape and that texture and the plating and.
I think his head facing Shatterpoint looks better than Legion counterpart. I don't know, Brandon. I respect your opinion and hear it. Redeemed Vader. Redeemed Vader is great. That one was fun. I try not to do. I don't. I'm really bad at favorites and having favorites, because I like to take different things for what they bring, what different things bring. You know, R2D2 can't bring the same thing that Grievous does, right? It's just 2 totally different conversations. So it's I'm really bad at favorites. Like I don't even have a favorite movie or bands, because different bands, different movies bring different things to conversation, and I try to always have those conversations about what different things bring, right? And just like life and people, right? Like different people have different you know? I can't judge a fish for how well it's able to climb a tree. You know what I mean? So I try to always look at things for what they're trying to bring to the conversation. So a little highlight. That maybe a touch darker, I think, down here. Me being able to hear the miniature when I look at it is what pushes it to the top. Oh, yeah. When I look at this miniature, I'm like, you can hear this man speaking to you. And likely it's not something friendly. Those little imperfections that from an incomplete coat of the first paint is perfect to accentuate and give that armor some personality. When I see a Hondo miniature, I can hear, my friend. The Hondo miniature, I don't think we had many poses for Hondo sketched out. I think it was literally 2, and it was just like, and it was like immediately like, that's the one. Like, how can it not be, right? Turns Chopper's sound clips on when painting him. That sounds fantastic. That is one sassy little bot. And there's one thing I respect, and dare I say adore, is a sassy robot. I like sass in general. Well, I need some white. Oh, where's the white? Not ivory. Not heavy warm white. I need... Nope, that ain't it. Where'd it go? Haha! Heavy titanium white. I didn't even mean to sing that. It just came out as a song. That's too bright. Go to this side where we got that blue lingering. Just want the blue on this side. I think I'll make it interesting. Why, you may ask? Why not? That's what I say. Let's go ahead and paint the eyes. Pure black. Coal black. Adjust my light. Give her my glasses. I don't need those. Keep breathing. Do that little test move. Just keep breathing. And if you need a moment to take a break, step back for a second. I need a re-highlight around that eye. It looks a little bonky. Looks a little bonky. Sometimes if you get a little paint on the outside of the ocular globe, you just go back and clean that up. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. Painting miniatures is the fine art of correcting one's mistakes. Like I just did there. Oh, that blaster is in the way. He's got like a pretty, I'm not going to say wrinkly face, but a very, face with a lot of personality. So just putting some little dots here and there to kind of show that sort of super featured face. A little bit lighter. Yeah, I think everybody loves Chopper, right? Chopper is so silly. I like putting little dots right next to the hairline. go. Let's step over and do some more armor. Highlight again. Just adding more the ivory, heavy warm white to the black. Who's ready for a Adepticon? I'm not. Got way too much to do so.
Every day leading up to Adepticon within that like 2-week period is like just an opportunity for problem solving and organization and just trying to make the event the best it can be for everybody.
Yeah, you want it to be the best it can be for everybody. What we always strive for. Oh, Seeker's doing laundry for Adepticon right now. I will do laundry Saturday night.
I did also mention this in chat earlier, but on our Discord for AMG, we just put up a whole Adepticon section so that people can find folks to play pickup games or do league play, or just ask for advice on how to, navigate certain aspects of how to engage with our games at the show. So definitely go check that out if you're on the Discord. And if you're not on the Discord, well, go get on the Discord.
Yeah, what are you doing?
What are you even doing?
Adding pure white to this highlight now. Surprised we don't have more questions. Where's all my questions today?
Do you remember your first Adepticon?
Oh, no. They all blended together.
They've all blended together. What do you think makes Adepticon stand out from other show experiences?
I mean, for me, it's a hobby.
Yeah.
It's the most hobby-centric show. That show is got such a wonderful focus on what makes the games we've chosen to play unique. Right? You can play lots of games. There's lots of games out there. There's lots of types of games. But there's nothing like miniature games in the fact that you get to build and create your little part of the world within the game and in the world, right? And Adepticon really focuses on that uniqueness of what we do, I mean, I love board games and I play a lot of board games, but it's different. Board games are just different than a miniature game. And to me, that's what makes the miniature game unique. And I love that Adepticon truly, truly celebrates that. So, for me, it's super important. Like, being able to see all these miniatures coming together and the celebration of what makes the games that I love, miniatures, right? The celebration of that. Oh, I got something sticky on my hand. Gross. Yep.
One of the craziest things last year was my first Adepticon, and I love just seeing that there were areas for people to pull off and do their hobby setups and just paint. Some people are out there playing in tournaments or, doing special events that they can only do at shows. Like for us, that would be our timeline event this year, the Gonk racing. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool that there's an equal number of people who are just, finding friends to go paint with and do a paint jam for a bit.
Sometimes you just got a paint jam.
Yeah.
I got a paint jam coming up.
Now, Stryker is asking if you have recommendations for taking on, kind of like yesterday we were talking about differentiating the brown tones in grief. He wants to know your thoughts on doing the same with monochromatic sort of black, gray.
Yeah, I think it's all the same philosophy, right? Like that's why I put the blue on one side. Or added gray to the black cloth to soften it. I want to keep it soft. And then so the ability to move between the contrast of not just hot or bright and dark, highlight and shadow, but the ability to move contrast between hard and soft and warm and cold is the secret to, like, when you're doing monochromatic paint schemes. Like if you're doing a Vader or a Moff Gideon or Dark Troopers, right? They're primarily black, but Vader has like 3 different blacks on the character, right? The hard shiny black of the helmet and the shin guards, the gray black of the padding parts, and then the cape is actually a different gray black. So that's really, it's bringing in all those colors, and not just mainly using black. I use a lot of what I call monochromatic blacks, which just means chromatic blacks, which just means putting color into the blacks. Putting a little red or green or purple or brown or something into your black paint to create something more visually interesting.
So why do you think a color like gray creates that softer texture where the edges of blue on the hard armor parts create that hard texture? I
mean, I could do a soft blue too. It's all about how I place my highlights. I want large, broad highlights, and I made it gray to contrast against the dark black of the armor. So staying away from a broad gray on the armor, keeping it primarily black with tiny gray highlights. And then on the cloth, it'll be primarily gray with tiny black highlights. And that's going to create those different blacks to create that visual interest. Look at his hair. I put a little brown in that black for his hair too, right? Because you want a little color in there. A little zazz. little spice. Oh, Armies on Parade is bonkers cool. It's one of my favorite parts. Love seeing big display boards. Bring me my Shatterpoint display boards, chat.
Yeah, I think that's something we're really excited to see, and I have a whole setup at times to go over and have a look at people's display boards for different events.
You have time for next year. Do you know when you should prep for Adepticon? The year before.
Yeah, right after this Adepticon.
Right after this one. I don't know if my brush is good enough for this. I got a pretty beat up brush. Sounds like 2026 then, Seeker. You can't get around this. Quit trying. Do you know who you're talking to? Come on.
That just means we expect to see 2 display boards.
Chile, what up? Says looking good. I need a drink. Woof, looking good so far. I got 10 minutes. That's like an eternity. And you can't trick me into staying long today. I have a meeting at 2:30.
I was just trying to think of some kind of funny way to bring that up, but but no, I am on it today. My eyes are on the clock.
It's not happening, chat. I got a meeting. Yesterday I didn't. I was just free flowing, just ever growing. No, that line's fine. I'll make it work.
It's hard mode when you can't turn him upside down, chat.
I can't turn him upside down. It's killing me. I got thinking now. Sorry. Thinking about how to... I don't do subassembly. I say that and I literally have a project on my table right now that I might be writing an article for that is totally in subassembly. What could it be? What could it be? I'm just dancing my brush lightly. See, I don't think it makes my life easier, but that's me. It's each their own. I'm not coming to your house and telling you how to do it. I'm giving you the way I do it. And I actually find subassembly much more difficult. I like having the parts all together so I can see philosophically how the colors are coming together. And taping everything off and making sure like all the glue points are good, and then not getting a good clean seam. I'd rather putty up my seams than to do subassembly. I want my seams nice and puttied. And if that means I gotta turn it upside down, that means I gotta turn it upside down because it's not that hard. And for a stream, yeah, it's a little tricky to see, but we're really talking philosophy here, right? It's about how to think about the painting and the overall philosophical notion of it, and not necessarily a step-by-step. I don't find step-by-steps that useful. Blue tack, but it makes it harder to hide the seam is what I'm saying. Once you get it all painted, I can't get a good removal of the mold line, the seam line. Not the mold line, the seam line. Right, what am I going to do? I could put putty over it, but then I got to repaint all that. Like, nah, that's too much for me. Too much. Now, maybe if I was painting it for a competition, then we'd have a different conversation. But we didn't define that. We're painting tabletop stuff here, so I'm talking in context of that. And for that, for me, it just doesn't matter, right? You get good enough for that tabletop pop. That zazzy tabletop.
When you're done doing your scritchies, can you turn it to the side? So there we go. Thank you.
I can do it from this side.
Get that good crackle.
That's correct. The process is as subjective as the art itself. You can paint with toothpicks, and as long as it looks cool, great. Good on you. I'm only here to provide inspiration and motivation and, hopefully pick up a tip or trick, but there's multiple ways to do the same thing, and You know, even professional miniature painters or professional painters in general have different approaches. I will never claim one way is more gooder than another. Somebody should take what I say and then be like, okay, I see why they're doing it, why he's doing it, why he taught that. But I'm going to incorporate it like this. I'm going to change it up like this, right? That's innovation, and that's doing it your way. And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't want to teach you what to paint. I want to teach you how to paint, how to think about painting, how to think about color, but then apply it in your own manner through your path in your journey, because that's way more important than just today we're going to put, you know, what is this color? Blue. And then we're going to edge highlight with sky blue. And then we're going to shade with a wash of, you know, blue wash. And then, like, that's not really what I'm about. There's all different roads to get to the same points. And you got to find your path. Scritches is a technical term. It's my scritches. It's my patented style.
Got to get your scritch on.
There's lots of painters that do like the little scritches. And I super like them myself. I don't like that color, gotta change it up. Do we have red?
This is your 1 minute warning.
1 minute? You better. 1 minute. Oh, that red is out. All right, I'm going to answer questions. Do you have any tips when painting black armor like here compared to black leather pants on top of each other or add a different color? Chili, that's a great question. So the idea is when you have, there's multiple different types of contrast. There's light and dark, and that's the most typical one that you think about. But there's also warm, cold. There's also soft, hard. There's also different ones. Got me on the spot. So with something like 2 different types of black, or like with Vader, 3 different types of black, it's about controlling what you're creating. So the armor is very shiny. So it's primarily black. Like 80% should be just black. 80% of the surface area of the element should be black. And then the tiniest little highlights. And what that does is it makes it feel hard, sharp. It makes it feel, shiny, right? When you have something like the cloth next to it, like Vader's padded parts, you want less black. It doesn't need to be 80%. It needs to be like 60% black. And you can use any color you want, right? For Vader, you typically move to like grays on the padded parts. And you don't want real tight highlights. You don't need a lot of that. You want broader highlights, and that shows that the material is softer. So that creates 2 different blacks, right? By just controlling the percentage of pure black and the how far up the highlight goes, or how tight and sharp those highlights are. For things like we did brown yesterday, adding different colors to it. So like we did Grief Karga, and his undersuit has a purple tone to it, so we put a little purple tone in it. But then his cape is like old and worn, so we added a little gray to it, right? So it made it feel older, it made it desaturated, right? And then for his flesh, he has a very lively, creamy skin tone. So we added a little orange to it to add that to give that glow. So it was 3 different browns, but they all felt totally different. And that's the big thing, is adding a little color and controlling your contrast. Yeah, sometimes I do hints of blue in my black, sometimes I don't. I've done Vaders with blue, I've done Vaders without blue. It's all artistic and all just interpretive, but it's mainly about how much black, how tight the highlights. You're very welcome. Thank you. 1 week to Adepticon. All right, it's 2:02. Remember, next week and the week after, we will not be streaming at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, where we always stream every week, except for the next 2 weeks, here on Twitch for Atomic Mass Transmissions Live. We're going to be at Adepticon, and then we're going to come back, and then we're going to stay away from the office, because who knows, somebody might be carrying, a flu in their pocket, or worse, who knows, the con cruds. And then for all the latest news, information, and announcements coming from Atomic Mass Games, you should check it out on Twitter and or Instagram. That's where we post the news. So until 2 weeks from now, 2 weeks from now, we'll be back with more painting. Tell your friends, tell your grandmas, and your cats, because that'd be great too. If the cats joined in, and the little kitty cats start learning how to paint miniatures, I'm in. They're like,
Could you imagine?
bat, 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 bat. They're like little bat. They do the bat paint technique. Pat, pat, pat. It'd be great. All right, bye. That's it. We're done.
Bye.
Bye.